Okay, I'm Alison, IS Network, also with Forest Staff Unity. I'm the Quality Officer in my UCU branch in a college in East London. And I had to think really hard about this meeting, you know, having been an SWP member for so long until recently, about what actually embracing feminism means to me. Is it, you know, what is it about for me? The word was kind of banned, you know, for me for the last kind of 20 years. So it's been an interesting few days and weeks really thinking about this. But I suppose I've only got a few minutes, so I'll focus on what it means to be as a trade unionist really. About austerity, and as we've heard today, but it's been said again and again, women are taking the brunt of the cuts, we all know that. And for me, what's really important is the role of women within this fight against the cuts, and how we achieve that, and how we develop a body of theory and practice that can really achieve that is effective. So. I think one of the things at the moment is really becoming clear is the drive of neoliberalism in restructuring social reproduction, the rearing of children, the care of the elderly, the sick, etc., etc. That the drive has been away from the state, which was with the model we've had for the past sort of 50, 60 years, back to the market and the family increasingly. And of course, this is something that socialist feminists talk about, isn't it, as well? And you know, how do we actually respond to that and get working class women to fight? Now, I mean, for me, I want to give some concrete examples actually. I mean, I work in a college, the management are really neoliberal, and over the last year I've noticed that I've never been busy as an equality officer. I've constantly got casework around women at the moment, particularly black women actually, and over issues like sickness and flexible working and things like that. And our management at the moment are trying to limit the amount of sick days we can have and limit the length of time that you can be off sick before you get disciplined or sacked. And we've had a case of a woman we've really had to try and fight for her. We're fighting these policies as well. We've agreed to have a ballot for action should they try to implement them. But the one that's really interesting was the other one they're trying to do, which is to limit the days off you get for caring for children or sick people in your family. So now you can only have 1 day off at a time paid. So say if your child's really ill and you have to take 3 days off sick, you'll get paid for the first day but not for the 3. And actually the interesting thing was the arguments that the two female trade unionists had to have within the committee, negotiating with the management about how central this was in the branch and how people were going to be really angry about it in the branch, that it would affect loads and loads of people, not just women actually, but men who stay off and look after their kids too. What about the single parents, etc., etc., etc. But we absolutely did have this argument, and got a unanimous kind of vote to the ballot on it if they do implement that as well, which I think is really brilliant. So, okay, one other thing, we have lots of failures, but one really big success was a flexible working case recently, where they just basically said, no, F off. A black woman who has 3 single parent, 3 children under 6, and even though she has the most flexible timetable of anyone I know in the college, they were saying, absolutely not, you cannot come in an hour later and leave an hour later, because the business will suffer. When in fact it's a load of rubbish, the business wouldn't suffer at all, it's purely ideological. I called them on procedure first, and they said, well, we're still going to say the same thing. I said, are you? Because it's the law, and actually I think you're prejudging the outcome of what might happen. And so it was good to do that. But what really swung it was the discussion I had with a rep in her office, because they were having a meeting, a staff meeting, and he went in after the discussion and actually argued, because there'd been a lot of divide and rule about her, because she'd been coming in a bit late and stuff like that, and some people going, she's always late and blah, 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 even though it was only about 5 times or something. And he won the argument. So I think what's really important at the moment, I think other speakers have brought this out, is that we have to actively be the tribune of the oppressed. We have to go into our campaigns, our workplaces, and make sure that issues around women and the oppressed are absolutely central to what we do. Because when we do that and we do it effectively, we can get great results. I think absolutely crucial we do that. She has now won a compromise as a result of that. A compromise which is actually pretty loads better than she was offered, because she was basically told to F off, and if you're late again we'll discipline you. Now they've backed off that, they're not monitoring her anymore, and she's got something that she can live with. So it doesn't sound like a great success. When do we get great successes in the trade union movement? We got a little victory there against them, and that's all that counts. Finally, let me just sort of come to the end of this, because I think the need for unity that Ruth mentions is absolutely important at the moment, and the realignment that people have talked about. You know, actually, we have to learn from each other. We have to develop new theories and practices. We have to be outward-looking, not inward-looking. I was so disappointed in the meeting I went to at Marxism today. It was so internal and dull, actually. There was no real debate about new ideas. There was no debate about how we go forward in the working class and what we do now. And that's the thing we've got ahead. I think any organisation, whether it's a revolutionary party or not, has to have a sense of ownership for women. Women have to feel part of that organisation. People have to engage with it without fear of rebuke, or worse still, being ignored or sidelined. I think, I'm not going to say everything I want to say, I think we need to create also a political milieu on the revolutionary left where women feel safe and included. The more women, working class women, can join and achieve the audacity. What we want is for women to have audacity in the movement, to be absolutely up there at the front and arguing, not in big speeches, but arguing with each other. Come on, speak. And I want more women to speak in the debate afterwards, please. Sorry, I'm looking at certain people here. Actually, I've been really quite disappointed that we haven't had more women coming up and saying what they think. Ask a question. You don't have to speak for 5 minutes. Do you know what I mean? Just say something. Anyway, that's all.